to and in and out of the garage area. Engines are fired for 67 laps of racing today. As the cars roll off of the grid, let's take a look through the starting lineup. In 27th, driver of the 00 from Pulaski, Tennessee, Wayne Peterson. In row 13, driving the 0 car from Cherry Hill, New Jersey, Dave Matchett. And in the 06, it's Con Nicolopoulos of Columbus, Michigan. In row 12, starting on the inside, the number 23 of Chase Storch out of Riverview, Florida. And outside, the 5 car of Tallahassee, Florida's Benny Chastain. Starting 22nd, driving the 2 car from Doylestown, Pennsylvania, Mike Seneca. Starting 21st, out of Circleville, Ohio, and driving the number 27, it's Rick Clifton. In 20th, from Shelby, Michigan, driving the James Hilton number 48, it's Brad Smith. Starting 19th, driving the number 64 out of Hazleton, Pennsylvania, Steve Fox. In the 18th spot, from Trussville, Alabama, Dustin Knowles in the number 14. Starting 17th, hailing from Ballston Spa, New York, and driving the 10 car, Ed Papa. Coming from Mobile, Alabama, and driving the number 9, starting 16th, Thomas Prater. In the 15th spot, from Fredericksburg, Virginia, the 34 car of Willie Mullins. Starting 12th in the number 75, 17-time winner in the ARCA Racing Series, from Lombard, Illinois, Bob Schacht. Starting 11th of St. Charles, Missouri, last year's winner of the race, driver of the number 58 car, Kyle Weatherman. Starting 10th, driving the number 77 out of Mitchell, Indiana, Chase Briscoe. In 9th, in from Alpine, California, driver of the number 38, Sheldon Creed. Starting 8th in the Venturini number 15, down from the Camping World Truck Series from Norman, Oklahoma, Christopher Bell. Starting 7th in the number 24 car from nearby Sewell, New Jersey, Steve Minganelli. In 6th, hailing from Mansfield, Pennsylvania, driver of the number 52, Matt Krzyzewski. Starting 5th from Port Charlotte, Florida, driving his number 6, Josh Williams. In 4th position, home track driver Tom Hessert in the 25. Starting 3rd from Highland Park, Illinois, and driving the number 98 for Mason Mitchell Motorsports, David Levine. And on the front row, starting on the outside, from Boca Raton, Florida, driver of the number 55 Venturini Motorsports Toyota, Dalton Sargent. And on the pole, with a speed of 99.367 miles an hour, driver of the number 22 Cunningham Dodge with 9 series victories to his name, from Westport, Connecticut, Parker Kligerman. 27 drivers on track for a 67-lap race here at the Thunderbolt Road Course at New Jersey Motorsports Park. 12 turns in all over this 2.25-mile track, a few minor elevation changes, a couple of relatively tight hairpin turns. This track will test the ARCA Racing Series drivers as their only trip to a road course here in 2016. It's been a wild year so far for the ARCA Series, 5 different winners in 5 races. Only one previous winner, New Jersey, in the field for today's race, Kyle Weatherman, who's rolling off back in the 11th spot. All eyes on NASCAR's Parker Kligerman, coming down today to reunite with his old Cunningham Motorsports bunch in the 22 car, starting up front. The lights are out on the pace car. By now it's making a right turn onto pit road down by the access bridge off of turn 12. The car's slowly coming into view, doubled up, black 22 waiting for the signal. Green flag here for the ARCA Racing Series in New Jersey. Good start by Kligerman as he gets clear of Dalton Sargent to his left. Clear track as they thunder ahead into turn 1. Hard onto the brakes into the sharp right-hander. The field locks it down as fast as they floored it. Little tire smoke. Tight through the corner as the 22 leads the field back out into open space. Slowly filing their way out of one. Looks like without incident as Kligerman opens up his lead on the 55 by car length. One by one, spread out in a line to turn 2. It's 22, 55, Levine in the 98. Krzyzewski in the 52, Williams in the 6. El Tire in the grass kicks up a little dust as they race around the far horn towards turn 3. Kligerman still leads through the corners, cars trying to match his footsteps as they all accelerate around the curbs, ready to head down the long straightaway parallel the airport. Action a little further back as Sheldon Creed is under fire from the red and white 75 of Bob Schacht, side by side up the long stretch, up and over the hill, briefly out of sight to the right-hander of turn 4, down to Aaron's Perch off of 5.
All Parker Kligerman so far as he leads the snake around the technical portions of the track through turn 5 and off to 6. Still Sargent and Levine behind him. Back in line, Creed clears Schacht's 75 car, and now Kyle Weatherman pulls up to the veteran's back bumper as they come off of 5, racing for the 10th position.
Yeah, and that 75 of Bob Schacht, one of only 2 of the newer composite-style bodied cars being phased into the series here today. Still optional in 2016. Yeah, only he and the 55 machine out of the Venturini stable opting to run the rounder bodies here on the road course. The leader, Parker Kligerman, running one of the legacy bodies for Cunningham, a Dodge. The same car that won last year here with Kyle Weatherman behind the wheel. Weatherman today a little further back in an entry from Lear Motorsports. Just a squiggle of asphalt through the scrubland from up the top here. Looking down as Kligerman leads the field through the turns, through the gentle S's of turn 11. Hard on the gas now, black car hugging the inside line under the access bridge to the short right-hander of turn 12 and back out onto the front stretch. Now a 2-car length lead over Sargent as they accelerate back into the frame. Through one lap, it's Kligerman, Sargent, Levine, Krzyzewski, Williams, and Christopher Bell making up the breakaway of the top 6. Kligerman at top speed near the end of the long pit lane as he rolls off the gas, easing the car back down through the gears for turn 1. Easy through the corner and back onto the gas as his talent at the road courses carries him ahead here. Kligerman, one of several NASCAR drivers in the field today, running the number 92 in the Truck Series now, and also Christopher Bell running full-time in the trucks for Kyle Busch, dropping down today to tune up his road racing craft. Parker beginning to pull away from the 55 in second place, opening up a lead down the back straightaway up over the hump. Little action coming off of 1 as Bob Schacht goes wide, allowing Kyle Weatherman's blue 58 to scoot to his inside on exit. And that's the 34 car of Willie Mullins closing in.
All around the big slowdown at turn 5 back into gears. Still a single file line behind Parker Kligerman as the leaders settle into this race right here.
Yeah, something to watch for here early on as the field stretches out across the track. The car starting at the tail end of the field, starting to make some moves towards the front. Willie Mullins already up to the 11th spot. Tommy Hessert in the Venturini 25 and Will Kimmel in his 69 team car also making up ground. Looking below, one car crawling down pit road beneath me. From the numbers, it looks like one of the Wayne Peterson Racing entries. Now back up further in the turns, put Mullins ahead of Schacht as ahead of them the Lear Motorsports cars chase Steve Minganelli in 8th and Bo Lamastis now running 7th. Parker Kligerman still leading the way through the technical portion, heading towards the bridge now and stretching the gap ahead of Dalton Sargent, up 3, make it 4 car lengths as they come into view here on the front stretch. Kligerman easily the most experienced in the upper levels of stock car racing in the field here, with some recent efforts in the Cup Series and Xfinity and NASCAR. And this is actually returning to the scene of his first ever start in a stock car series, back in 2008. It was the first year the ARCA series competed here in the New Jersey Motorsports Park Thunderbolt circuit. He comes in with a 6th place finish in 2008, and a runner-up to Patrick Long in 2009. Smooth through the slow right-hander at the end of the straight again as here comes the bulk of the field by me at the tower to complete lap 2. Oh, one car locking them up and coming in hot. It's Willie Mullins who runs wide in 1, and there goes the composite 75 of Schacht back by again. More mixing up ahead of the screen. Oh, maybe a little contact up between 2 and 3. Hard to tell from the tower vantage point out there. About a 150-degree angle from the start-finish line. One of the Lear cars beginning to separate itself. That's Kyle Weatherman pulling ahead of Creed. And a little smoke coming out the back of Creed's blue and green 38 as he crests over the hill. Oh, maybe a tire rub from contact back at 2.
Yeah, a faint bit of smoke trailing out of the rear of the 38 car as he passes by my station here. No signs of heavy damage, but something's going on there. We're going to have to keep an eye on his vehicle, maybe as the tire pressures build up. Up headed into 6, looks like Weatherman's made his way past the 24 with a move up to the inside.
Put Kyle Weatherman up to the 7th spot as he marches up through the turns. Bunching up behind him as they run the long right-handed loops of turns 7, 8, and 9. Sheldon Creed now under fire from Minganelli and Schacht.
We've got one car really slow here coming into 5. Someone in the back half of the field. It's the 23 of Chase Stewart coming in turn at half speed, weaving his car in and out towards the outside of the turn. This appears to be a backup car for the Prater camp. It's the same sponsorship, red body, and may also have an early exit here today for that team.
Parker Kligerman still in control of this race as they complete lap 3. Still Sargent Levine giving chase, but losing time to the leader. No surprise to see a Dodge up front at the road course here. Of course, the last 7 races here have all been won by the Dodge crew. The only outlier being Justin Allgaier's Chevy in the inaugural event, range shortened to 40 laps. We've got 67 on tap today as David Levine runs off track coming off of 2. Cloud of dust and dirt as he rejoins the circuit, but he's passed by several cars. The 52 is by, the 6 is by, the 15 of Christopher Bell is closing in through 3 now. One slip is all it took here early on. One car getting out of line. I'm not sure what happened there. Side by side down the uphill backstretch, and it looks like Bell's going to have a run on the 98 as they head towards 4.
Christopher Bell takes a spot away from Levine here, clean him off at turn 4, so move the truck driver up into the top 5. They're all settled down here moving into the curves, but Sam, I'm still seeing smoke out of the back of the 38. Now maybe getting a little worse as he chugs away out of 5. Still under power, but I think that's a little worse than just a tire rub.
So possible problems early on here for Sheldon Creed, and I can see it from up here. That pesky smoke still following this car around through 7 as it heads back my way. Battle up ahead of him as the 98 of Levine is looking to get back into Bell's picture, right in his tracks coming through the long keyhole loop of 7 through 10. Back past the rear spotters, just a group of grandstands on the opposite side of the bridge out towards the track's condominium units. I know that some teams have put spotters out there, outside of 8 and 9, and then some others with radios up on top of the seats by Aaron near the entrance of turn 5. Nothing changing up front, Parker Kligerman all by himself laying down qualifying runs ahead of Sargent. Bit of a gap now back to Krzyzewski, the new third-place car, that neon yellow and black Ken Schrader racing machine. No further problems or damage for the 98, back on track and at full speed. Easy to tell from anywhere in the track when a car goes off course, a narrow circuit and a sort of arid landscape here in southern New Jersey, where even one wheel off brings up that cloud of dirt and a dead giveaway that lingers around in the air. And fortunate that we aren't in a rainy season here, I don't see anyone sliding off course and needing a tow out from a mud pit today. Levine battling back now, making a move to the inside of Christopher Bell at the entrance to 1, taking back that 5th spot as Bell agrees with the exchange. More smoke out the back of the 38 as it passes by the tower. I don't know how much longer the series officials are going to let that go on before asking them to bring the car in for a look. One car kicking up some more dust coming on the front stretch, blue car. That may be the 27 of Rick Clifton, back on track after doing some off-roading, and now the caution flag flies. Caution is out. I can't see any obvious problems from up here in the booth, spinning around in a circle.
Nothing's going on down here in the turns. Can't see anyone stop. Haven't seen a local yell from the flagger here. I don't know what's going on.
Well, I'm going to have to guess that this is for the smoking car of Sheldon Creed. Might be laying some oil down on the track. Safety car out, and we'll step away under caution here early in the Twilight 150, presented by Unique Pretzels. Back here under caution in New Jersey, cleanup underway on track for the oil laid down by Sheldon Creed's car. Let's send it down to the third member of broadcasting team, Elijah, with a report on the 38 from pit road.
Well, the team isn't throwing in the towel here in the 38 pit. The hood is up on the car, and we've got some crew members scrambling around the front of it, reaching around, trying to diagnose. Obviously not an engine issue. The car is under power, but maybe an oil line coming loose in the car. Something the Lyra team thinks they can repair and get him back out on the track.
So, a spot of good news then if they aren't pushing it back behind the wall. Clearly don't think it's terminal. Lap 7 under the yellow flag at the Thunderbolt course. We'll step away again and be back after these messages.
Back at New Jersey, looks like whatever was causing the oil leak in the 38 has been patched up. Crew chief's giving me the thumbs up. He should be good to go.
So Sheldon Creed is back in the race, but here on lap 11 we continue to circle the track under yellow. Heavy cleanup underway, tracking down all of the oil laid down over this 2.25 mile road course. No real quick way of cleaning this one up, and not a lot of other action on pit road. The 52 of Matt Krzyzewski has come down for 4 tires from 3rd place, as has the 77 of Chase Briscoe. Kligerman still pacing the field behind the safety car. We'll take one more break and hopefully be back for some green flag racing. Back in New Jersey, where the green flag waves to kick off lap 15. Kligerman on the inside, Dalton Sargent on the outside as they roar up through the gears and back it way down for turn 1. 22 going up the track a bit. Puff of dust as Sargent clips the grass in the 55. Christopher Bell in his door in the 15. Josh Williams bearing down on them as they exit turn 1. It's Kligerman, Bell, Williams, Sargent, Tom Hessert up to 5th place in the 25, then Weatherman, and Bo Wamastis the top 7. No relief here for Kligerman, his lead gone as the field follows in his footsteps around the short stretch and into 3. More dust from further back, but everyone back on track now. Sheldon Creed making up some positions, back in the race, still on the lead lap after some repairs under caution.
That all-black Cunningham Dodge of Kligerman leading down into turn 5 left-hander, and Josh Williams drives in deep under the 15, side by side as the exit off the corner. Bell up against the grass and losing ground. Aggressive move by Williams in the 6 car to wrestle 2nd place from the 15, who slots back in front of his teammate as they go into turn 6.
Field now single file with still wound tightly together, snaking through the long, looping corners in the rear of the complex. Parker Kligerman has led all 14 since the drop of the green, but he's facing pressure now from Josh Williams and the Venturini squad, lining up 3rd, 4th, and 5th behind him. Williams, a guy who's been steadily improving his road racing skills here, and today marks his 7th start here with the ARCA Racing Series in that red number 6. Matter of fact, actually raced his way to a podium finish in last year's event, edging out future champion Grant Enfinger to grab 3rd place at the line. He's still within striking distance of Kligerman as they exit out underneath of the track bridge and roar down the front stretch at speed to complete lap 15. It's Kligerman, Williams, and Bell the top three as it stands. One car off track heading through the exits towards the bridge. Gonna have to wait until it comes into view though for an ID. Got one slow coming up under it now. Black car looks like it might be the 5 car of Benny Chastain gathering it back up. The leaders cycle around turn 2, still nose to tail back to the 98 car, accelerating up around turn 3 towards the canopy building off the back straightaway, front 6 gapping away from the 42 of Lemastis and 24 of Steve Minganelli, the New Jersey native.
Oh, Parker Kligerman locks him up into turn 5. William dives in the inside as Kligerman skirts to the grass in the corner exit. Now side by side with Christopher Bell in a fight for second place. Josh Williams in the 6th car, now the race leader as they head into 6 and 7 to settle this out. That low black Josh Kligerman on the track running, but he slipped back to 3rd place now.
Opportunity strikes out in the turns, and now Dalton Sargent with the momentum on the inside line as they begin the long series of right-handers heading into the keyhole horseshoe. First lead change of the day after a little dust-up back there, but they're settled now to put Josh Williams to the top of the board, followed by Bell, Sargent, and Kligerman back and forth, a car length ahead of Tommy Hester. That qualifies as a little bit of excitement after Parker had started to run away and hide in that brief first segment of green flag racing, and the deck's been shuffled a bit. Josh Williams capitalizes and grabs the lead here in this underfunded red 6 on lap 16. Williams leads the long train past the condominiums and underneath of the access bridge, but will he be able to hold off a hungry Parker Kligerman, and Bell running close behind him in second as they run the slight uphill towards the finish line. Williams leads the lap, but Bell is right on his bumper, looking for an angle as they plan for the shift down into 1. Bell sets up to the inside, looking for a move as they brake, but the 6 car fends him off for the time being, but no, now pulls up alongside of him with a run off of 1. 1, 2, and 3 all right-handers, but Bell on the outside with a good run out of turn 1 will clear Josh Williams as they navigate through 2. New leader Christopher Bell in the black and orange JBL Toyota. Just the second ARCA start of the year for Bell, the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series driver, looking to go 2 for 2 in ARCA after starting with a win at Salem about a month ago. Can't imagine he's had much road course experience in his racing career, coming from the world of dirt to the oval track stock cars, but he's definitely a prized jewel in the pipeline of Toyota racing development this year. So this race likely just to get some practice for him to get acclimated for his road race later on this year in the Truck Series, and then maybe down the line, higher up the ladder in NASCAR. It wouldn't be the first time. Last year we saw young Cole Custer make his ARCA debut in the same race. Here today it's the hot prospect Christopher Bell now pacing the field. Top 5 all separated by about 2 car lengths each. Call it Bell, Williams, Sargent, and Kligerman as the field cycles around the technical portion. Lead crew working their way through a little bit of lap traffic. That's Brad Smith and James Hilton's number 48, running the wide groove out around the corners, giving the leaders plenty of room on the inside. It's been a little bit of musical chairs with the 48 car this season so far, sort of sharing the number in points with Empire Racing. Sean Cord drove the 48 for his team at Daytona and Talladega, and had a shot at winning that second race, coming home 5th. As far as I know, Brad Smith's still trying to put together a full season in 2016 between a few teams, already picking up some points for Prater and Hickson. Here comes Dalton Sargent with the run now, coming up to the backside of that bright tomato red 6 car, nudging and nestling his way in as they make the turn through 9 and 10. Put Sargent's composite body car back into second place. Have to imagine he's viewing this race as a landing spot for his first win in the ARCA Series. Runner-up last week to Mike Snyder at Toledo, and I'd have to think he's got more road course experience than some of his competitors who actually began his career racing single-seaters across the pond in Europe. Still trailing teammate Christopher Bell right now, so we've ticked by lap 17 of 67. A couple of road course specialists in the field today, always a sort of a crossover event here at the New Jersey Motorsports Park with some of the regional racers. There's Willie Mullins of Virginia making his 5th event here, just 7 ARCA Series starts, running only the road courses prior to the season, but tacking on the super speedways in 2016. Bob Schacht, who retired from driving the series after the year 2000, has come back to run this race now 6 times, bringing his car home 11th in last year's running. And Steve Minganelli, the local driver, whose only ARCA starts have come at the circuit each of the last 6 years, with the best result of 8th in 2015. They all trail the lead dog Christopher Bell, rolling around with a comfortable lead through turn 12, heading back my way. Beautiful day for racing here in New Jersey, about an hour south of Philadelphia, which you'd say is about the halfway point between Philly and the southern point of the state in Cape May. This track part of a larger complex that makes up New Jersey Motorsports Park, the Thunderbolt Circuit, and there's also the Lightning Course, the sister track to where we're running today, out past turn 6. The dirt course is a recent addition, an off-roading motocross track across the road, straight ahead of the finish line here, out past the big red and white striped water tower that you'll see on your way in. Some dirt from the bikes blowing across past the trees and campers here from time to time, depending on the direction of the wind. Issues back down below. Let's go to Elijah for a report.
Kyle Weatherman rolls his 58 into the pit stall to the attention of his crew. An unscheduled pit stop for the Lear gang. Tires are up on the wall, crew waiting. Clearly a problem they've been aware of. A little bit of work going on the left side. Slow, unscheduled stop for Weatherman.
Could be a situation with a flat tire. I hadn't seen him go off course or suffer from the same oil leak that his teammate Sheldon Creed had to bring out caution number 1. Here on lap 18, I can tell you that Parker Kligerman has made his way back past the 6 of Josh Williams, climbing closer back towards the lead. Cunningham team car is now running 3rd, and Chase Briscoe has raced his way back into the top 10 after stopping at the first caution. Down below, I can see the crew finally working around to change right sides on the 58, but this stop could cost him a lap as turning to my left, the 15 of Christopher Bell is accelerating out of the keyhole in 10 and heading towards home. Tough break for last year's winner, still sitting on pit road and now creeping out of his stall, blending off to the left side of the road, but it's a long way down to pit exit. Another car inching onto pit entry out of the tunnel, gonna wait on an ID until I can get a closer look as the leader speeds past. This is gonna be the 64 car, that's Steve Fox, the Pocono instructional racer. Bit of an unconventional paint job on the 64. It's gonna make the hard right-hand turn between the wall, and that could be it for the day. One of the Wayne Hickson entries. 5 cars currently off track and back in the garage. All 3 cars are the Wayne Peterson racing fleet, along with Storch in the bonus Prater car, and now Steve Fox apparently ending his day early. 19 laps complete so far, 22 cars still out competing on the Thunderbolt track. 1 car failed to show this weekend, that's the 05 of John West Townley, originally on the entry list, but a late scratch when the haulers arrived. Bell, Sargent, and Kligerman make up the top 3 as they run, with Williams, Hessert, and Levine the top 6. Out of turn 1, Kligerman continues to make up ground on the Venturini Motorsports cars. Shuffled out of the lead and back to 4th a few laps ago, he'd been the class of the field, but give a call out to Christopher Bell for a strong run so far, keeping all 4 wheels under the... And trouble! Trouble! A car slow just behind him, Kligerman up to 2nd, that's Dalton Sargent off the pace! Sargent slow on the track up by turn 2, problems for the driver that had been running 2nd in the race. I don't see any damage, at least to the right side of the car. No smoke. I don't know what's going on up there, but he's crawling along off the side of the track, running out into the grass and getting out of the way as the field rushes by. Gonna have to see if he can get it refired.
Green flag waving still out here in turn 5. Haven't reached for the yellow yet here in our station.
Dalton Sargent's 55 car stopped on the track in turn 2, and there it is, full course cautions displayed by the flagger. Yellow out early on lap 20 for one of the favorites in the race. We'll step aside from our coverage and be back as pit road opens for business right after this. Back at the Twilight 150, the pits are open and a line of cars is making their way in for service under caution. Elijah?
The leaders make their way onto pit road for what might be their only stop of the race. Likely going to be 4 tires and fuel. The leader, Christopher Bell, is in. The 22 is in. The 25 also in. 4 general tires in the call. Everyone seems to be doing that inverted dance, changing left side tires first on this reversed road course pit road. The 98 car is in for a stop. Tires going around on the right side for the 15. Crew working to keep his track position as if this is their only shot at it. Bell is away, but has to wait for traffic to blend out.
Traffic jam on pit road below is going to hand the top spot back to the Cunningham group. 22 is going to be first off pit road when they reach the exit. Of course, not everyone on track elected to come in for a stop. We're going to have to see if they're going to try and stretch it from the first caution on fuel for the rest of the race. Here on lap 22, under the yellow for issues under the hood on the 55. The wrecker's pushing him back around the track to pit road. The hood is up, but again like the 38, the team thinks it's something that won't end their day. And taking a look at the leaderboard now, it's Matt Krzyzewski assuming the lead in the 52 car, followed by the 77 of Chase Briscoe, the 42 of Bo Lamastis, the repaired 38 of Sheldon Creed, and the 69 of Will Kimmel, your top 5. Kyle Weatherman will be the recipient of the free pass before we go green. The first car 1 lap down. And we'll be back racing here in New Jersey right after these messages. Back at the New Jersey Motorsports Park, awaiting the green flag to drop as the pace car idles off into pit road. Now green flag in the air on lap 25. Matt Krzyzewski leads Chase Briscoe down towards turn 1, hugging the inside as they charge behind him. Kligerman with a dive, and Krzyzewski goes wide into the grass, but he keeps the wheel pointed straight and keeps the lead heading out of 1. Kligerman made a move to the inside and picked off Sheldon Creed entering the corner. Then the 42 exiting moved them up to third after a wild restart. And another car off course. It's the gray number 14, that's Dustin Knowles, taking the corner way wide and running off through the grass in one. Now climbing back onto the surface after some off-roading there. The running order up front now, Krzyzewski, Briscoe, and a few lengths back, Parker Kligerman with 4 fresh General tires. Everyone back on asphalt now, trying to settle down and get themselves righted as they head towards the far corners.
Brzezinski leads Briscoe by 2 car lengths rolling towards me in turn 5, but it's Parker Kligerman, who's clearly in attack mode with his new tires. He handles the turns with ease, closing in on his teammate in the 77. Jumbo of old tires, new tires behind this trio. Here comes Christopher Bell, setting up a move on the 69 car of Kimmel in turn 5.
Balance restoring here as the tire cycles play out. Looks like Kligerman's really heating up Briscoe as they head into the long series of left-handers, right on his back bumper now as they loop into the turns. Hard to get a good angle from this distance without the binoculars, but I'm going to say that you could put Parker back in the runner-up spot by the time they exit into 10. The 52 car's not running away from this battle. He's on the same tires as Briscoe, and he also had his own tire.
Oh, Sam, 1 car off course to my right. Contact for someone deep off into turn 6 and towards the barriers. I can't make out who that is.
All right, I will get out the binoculars this time and take a look. The blue and white car, I'll venture to say that's the 2 car of Mike Seneca bouncing back up towards the track. Little damage on that car. The report was that he may have been sent. Back down in the lead bunch, Kligerman has gone past Briscoe, now up to the 2nd spot. Krzyzewski still leading the race as they come through to complete lap 26, but it won't be his for long. Here comes Parker Kligerman, pointing the sharp nose of that black Dodge to the inside of the track. He'll make the move underneath of Matt in 1. The 52 takes the corner very gingerly out by the grass again. 2 wheels off course and slow. Put Kligerman back to the point. There goes Chase Briscoe into the new void. Retaining the 2nd spot. 3 wide behind them, banging for position into turn 2. Krzyzewski, Minganelli, and another black car coming together there. Getting the squeeze 3 wide. Ahead of them in separation, it's Kligerman, Briscoe, and the 15 of Bell now moving past Bo Lamastis for 3rd. There's that balance restoring itself as some of the cars that have been putting up slower times today drop back through the field on the roller tires. And of course on a road course, not all the cars out there are created equal. Most of these out here can trace their lineage back to the Cup Series, but they're not all what you can define as purpose-built road course vehicles. Some of the smaller teams might be here with their car from Toledo last week, or for Pocono the week after this, and they're just in survival mode here, out of their element with the right-handers, doing all they can just to keep 4 wheels on the pavement. Nice rebound for Sheldon Creed after some issues early on with his oil. He's rebounded and after staying out at the last yellow, put the 38 car in the 5th spot in the running order. Out into the turns, it's Kligerman, Briscoe, and Bell the top 3. Then Bo Lamastis and Sheldon Creed looking like they're about to fall into the clutches of Tom Hesser and his fresh General tires. Tom Hesser's white and red number 25 on the inside track through the long right-handers, rolling past Sheldon Creed and setting up the 42. Up front, Kligerman's got a sizable lead over Briscoe now, stretching out to 4 car lengths. 1 car below me rolling down pit entry. That's the red 48 of Brad Smith, already off the lead lap, now making another stop under green. You can also report that the transmission issues with the 55 car Dalton Sargent have been cleared up, and he's back under full power, now 1 lap down. Now 27 laps complete here as Parker Kligerman has cycled back to the lead and striking while the iron is hot with those fresh tires, really pulling away from Briscoe, hugging the lines of 1 and 2.
Oh, problems further back in the field. The 9 car of Thomas Prater rolling past me into turn 5 with a sour sounding motor as the 5 car kicks up some grass on his way through the turn.
Issues developing under the hood for the 9. Have to find out if maybe that engine's gone down a cylinder. Let's take a look through the running order at where some of the contenders today are right now with 27 complete. Parker Kligerman, the pole sitter, of course, out front. Christopher Bell led a few laps earlier. He's back up into the 3rd position. Josh Williams in the 6th car. He grabbed a lap earlier, and he's in the 8th spot. Matt Krzyzewski, leading when the green flag dropped only a few laps earlier, now finds himself all the way back in the 11th spot, working with the 42 car. Also, that's the 34 of Willie Mullins back there. Mullins, a native of Fredericksburg, Virginia, bringing his 34 car for another crack at the road race. Something unique about this car, though, the swirling design of colors featured on it, purple, black, and blue. That's not one of the vinyl wraps that most teams incorporate their paint schemes on now. Rarity today, this is a hand-painted car, attracting a few admirers down in the garage area, even James Hilton taking notice of the work they've done. Mullins currently 13th on the track. Not very many cars that you'll call flashy here today. Many of these just single-use, single-purpose for the road course that the teams pull out once a year. Bit of a throwback design to previous years on the 77 car for Chase Briscoe. A very plain white for the 25, plain black with a white and red stripe for the 22, plain black for the 98. Nice colorful red and white design on Bob Shack's new composite body car. Same with black and red TRD colors on the 55, more of a familiar looking sight for the rest of the season. Oh, here's Elijah with a report down in the pits.
Yeah, Sam, Moose Prater has brought the 9 car into the pits. Team looking at the front of the car. Now someone leaning in through the window, and I think they're pulling the plug. Hand signal goes out. The window net goes out. Hard early end to this day for the Praters.
So that'll relegate the 9 car to around a 20th place finish in the race today. Working on lap 29 of the Twilight 150, presented by Unique Pretzels. Radio coverage of the ARCA Racing Series will return just after this. Back in New Jersey for the 2016 running of the 150-mile road race. Parker Kligerman out in front of the field in turn 8, but there's been a change in position just behind him. Aaron?
Christopher Bell working his way back to the front, sliding past the 77 of Briscoe. Last time by coming down to turn 4. He's back in second place and eyeing the lead again.
Tough work ahead for Bell, the 22 with a lead of several seconds now as he emerges out of the keyhole in 10. Working his way through the S's of 11, driving around the slower car of Rick Clifton. Turning to my right to take a look at the rest of the track, the 42 is tied up in a fight with the Mullins car as they motor through 3. Give the position to Mullins as the 42 gives a wobble out of the corner. When Kligerman crosses the line, the flagger will display the crossed flags halfway back to the finish line. I can tell you that while we were away, the 48 car of Brad Smith completed service and rejoined the race, while local driver Mike Seneca made the right turn behind the wall with the number 2, joining Peterson, Storch, Matchett, Nicolopoulos, Fox, and Prater in the garage area, and if he's done, put him behind Prater in the final finishing order. Kligerman enjoying a comfortable lead as the top 10 rides around the track spread out. Christopher Bell in second, then Chase Briscoe distances back in third. Cherry Hill, New Jersey's Tom Hessard in fourth. Josh Williams in the 6 car back up to fifth. Only close action be Hessard inching towards the old tires of the 77 car. A little further back, Kyle Weatherman's back on the lead lap and closing in on the top 10 here on lap 34. Weatherman, the only previous winner here, entered into the race today. We mentioned the Dodge dominance of the track early on, and a good portion of that came from Canadian road course race Andrew Ranger, who won this race the year before in 2014, and 2013, and 2012 and 2011. 4 straight races of dominance before his operation moved back north of the border to the Pinty's Series. The inaugural run back in 2008 won by Justin Allgaier, then the ace Patrick Long in 2009, short track driver Casey Roderick driving for James Finch in 2010, and then of course the streak rattled off by Ranger. Back on track, Tommy Hessard's reeling in the 77 of Chase Briscoe, rolling up to his tail over there by Aaron in turn 5. Hessard forced to start in the back for the race for some adjustments earlier this morning, creeping forward bit by bit, and the strategy right now from crew chief Billy Venturini has him on 4 fresh tires, about to grab third place away from Briscoe and bust up that Cunningham 1-3 package. Kligerman with a wide lead over the 2 of them, putting another lap on Brad Smith with a pass in turn 10. Cloud of dirt and dust blowing in across the road from the motocross event going on straight ahead of me here on the front straightaway, just enough to be a little bit of a nuisance to all of us looking that direction. Losing sight of the battle for third on the opposite side of the bridge, waiting for one car to emerge out from under the big green hill, I'll put Tom Hessard up to the 3rd spot, out in front of the black and yellow 77, and it's Cunningham, Venturini, Cunningham, the top 4. Lap 35, commanding lead for Parker in this, what you might call his comeback race in the series. Likely not going to be running full-time in the Truck Series this year, doing a week by week right now, and there was an opening in the schedule to swing by one of his home tracks and help out his old team. The last time we saw him in the ARCA Series was back in 2009 in a championship effort that saw him win 9 races in that season alone, though he wound up coming short just by a handful of points for the title to Justin Lofton, winner of 6 races of his own. So a reunion here for Parker and the Cunningham gang, and really picking up right where he left off here, looking for career win number 10, and he might be on his way to it here, cruising away to a sizable lead over Bell in 2nd place. The second team car for Cunningham dropping a bit on those older tires, a good effort from Chase Briscoe to drive it up near the front. Further back, everyone else has been passed by those who stopped on that last yellow, some of those cars really struggling. The 69 of Will Kimmel took a brief trip out of turn 2 the last time by.
And off goes Christopher Bell on his own in turn 5. Bell came in hot and really overcooked the turn. All 4 tires into the grass, gathering up out, but that's going to cost him. Yeah, there goes the 25 car by him under control. Big mistake by Bell, and he's lost 2nd place, back into the pavement now, firing his car back into life at regular race pace.
Tough break for Bell there, and that really opens it up for the 22. Distance of a couple of corners over Tom Hessert, the new runner-up. Turn 5, one of those hot spots that can really trip you up, the toughest in terms of getting it woed down other than one. We've seen multiple cars swing wide today, probably cutting a little groove out into the grass there. Dust clouds coming up every few laps. And now as tires are fading for everyone in the field, they'll be testing the limits of how far that pavement can go. Clearman comes past the tower now to complete lap 35. Hessert just now emerging out from under the bridge. The 2 cars between he and the leader looks like the 14 of Knowles and the 10 of Ed Pompa, just losing the lap to the 22. Looking for Bell to come through, and oh, I see some problems out in the turns. All I can tell from eyesight memory is that one car is somewhere it shouldn't be, cloud of dust and all. Aaron, what do you have?
I can't get a really good view, but it's back off in turn 8, pretty far behind me by the condos. Looks like a black car stopped off course, but can't really make out who it is, Sam.
Dust is settling. I'm going to guess that's the 5 car of Benny Chastain that stopped over in 8. I'm not seeing the scoring change for anyone further up in the field. Chastain a few laps off pace already. Waiting to see if he can get it refired out there. Local yellow waving, I'm sure. Track officials have the power to isolate cautions here on the road course if a car's gone off. Maybe needs some time to gather it back up from a long trip off. But if he can't get this car moving, the ARCA officials are going to have it. And there it is. Twin yellow flags below the tower here. Full course caution coming out when they complete lap 36. Caution out for the 5 of Chastain. Car stopped off in the technical portion. He'll get a tow or a push, and we'll get this going again. So for right now, we'll step away and take a break. You're listening to coverage of the Twilight 150, presented by Unique Pretzels. Back here under yellow at the road course at New Jersey Motorsports Park, the ARCA Racing Series pacing around on lap 40. Caution coming out for Benny Chastain coasting to a stop in turn 8. He's since been pushed back out of the grass and brought his car to pit road for diagnosis. What have you got down there for us, Elijah?
Some pit stops down here, a couple of cars coming in and out for General Tires and Fuel. Sheldon Creed has been in, Tom Hessert's been in, taking the rest of his tire allotment. You also have the 69 of Kimmel in that red car, still sitting there in the pits, up on jacks with the crew underneath the rear end. I talked to the crew chief, Bill Kimmel, and they think it might be the axle. Fortunate problems here already for Kimmel.
Well, that's going to certainly make the road ahead pretty difficult for Will Kimmel if they're going to continue on out there with a busted axle. Didn't hear what the case was with Chastain. The car stopped to bring out this yellow period. The top 3 out behind the pace car right now still Kligerman in first, Chase Briscoe staying out and saving tires in second, Christopher Bell in the 3rd position. Kligerman probably not too happy about this caution coming out. He would have been perfectly fine if everyone kept up the pace they were going at. He was building up a pretty sizable lead out there, and every time we'll have one of these restarts, it's just another chance for something to go wrong around him that he can't control. Just getting through turn 1 on the restart isn't a guarantee. Some hungry hounds behind him who know that these situations could be their only chance of getting a crack at Kligerman. I see down below the 69 of Will Kimmel is rolling down pit road, so they're going to try and stick this one out with the wounded Ford. Bill running a more limited schedule this year. Stepped out for Nashville, Salem, and Toledo, but a good run for Will and the team just a few weeks ago at Talladega, leading 16 laps in the race and surviving the chaos late for a 4th place finish at the Superspeedway. Cars now starting to double up as they wind around towards the front of the track. Lights off on the pace vehicle, ready to get this back under green. Going to be 27 laps to go next time by. The 2 Cunningham Motorsports cars line up 1-2, 22 over 77. Yet to see the extra 72 car brought out of the shop yet this year, though I am hearing rumor that there might be a 3rd entry for the team next week at Pocono, maybe someone in the Penske pipeline. Pace car is off, speeding ahead to its hiding spot at the end of pit road. Flagger adjusting up in the stand, ready to wave the green flag and get us back to racing in New Jersey. Good restart by Kligerman, clearing past Briscoe here, now lined up in order as they roar towards turn 1. Some jostling further back, tight quarters in the corner. Josh Williams, then David Levine and Kyle Weatherman, all battling for the 5th spot, and everyone stays on course. Dalton Sargent in the 55 making up a little ground, weaving through slower traffic to find a position to fight for after receiving the free pass under this last caution, to put him back on the lead lap. Levine to the inside of Williams through turn 2, securing that 5th position. One car a little wide. I think that was the 38 of Creed putting a tire in the grass. Back in the realm of 10th place. Looking for a pass on the 42 car here on lap 42. Kligerman leads Briscoe through 3, setting sail down the backstretch, accelerating up the hill past the hangar building and towards the hump. The Thunderbolt track here located right next to the old municipal airport. literally right out there past turns 2, 3, and 4. Old grounds of a military air base here in Millville. See some small planes coming and going during the race, but when you refer to the hangar at the racetrack, it's the building on the inside of the backstretch off of 3 that contains the banquet facility, an overlook, concessions, showers, all of the infield amenities, straight down the road behind the tower here. A real nice setup at the track as it continues to expand its facilities. And back on track, Parker Kligerman continues to expand his lead over the 77 car, who may not be in second place much longer. Christopher Bell really on his tail off into the technical portion. And put David Levine in the 98 up to the 4th spot now, wheeling his Mason Mitchell Motorsports Chevy back into contention. Been a hodgepodge of drivers filling that seat in 2016 so far. Gus Dean's been in the past 2 races and scored the win for the 98 crew at Talladega in that darkness-shortened race, edging Josh Williams by a few feet when the final caution flag flew. A 7th place finish for Gus last week at Toledo, the race won by Myatt Snyder in the 22 car. 22's been following the same model of rotating drivers in, starting off the year with dirt ace Kevin Thomas Jr., also Blake Jones and Brady Boswell the first quarter of the schedule. The 22's leading here, perhaps the last time we'll see the team roll a Dodge out of their fleet, and if he keeps up this pace, this could be the last victory a Dodge wins for the foreseeable future.
48 car, Brad Smith really slow heading out of turn 5, really nursing that thing.
Sounds like the end of the line might be in the future for the Hilton entry here. Likely one of those teams just trying to make some laps with their backup car in the foreign road course. Kligerman at the line to complete lap 42. Briscoe about 3 car lengths back, then Bell stalking close behind. Levine in 4th, another 2 lengths back, and all sounds well. Bell closing up on Briscoe, staking his claim to the inside, and Briscoe will cede the bottom lane to the 15 car, easing it through turn 1, so now we'll see what Christopher Bell has for the man who's had the car to beat today. Not a lot of experience making right turns. This is perhaps his first crack at a road course in a stock car, but he's showing his talent. Briscoe slots in behind him safely as they head into 2, and there's a whole gaggle of cars coming behind them as the field stacks. 1 car on the charge, 3 wide at turn exit. Dalton Sargent cutting to the inside, down to the grass, edging fenders on the inside loop of this 3-car wedge, and now he clears the bunch. That was the 24 and the 38 that he was muscling through, ambushing 2 cars at once, vaulting his way deep inside of the top 10 now. So don't count out Dalton Sargent in this one. After some mechanical issues early set him back and down a lap, he's regained footing and is on the charge. They filed out behind him, Minganelli, Clear, and Creed, all single file now, the train back intact through turn 3. Sargent looking to maybe grab his first victory in the series today. We saw William Byron and Cole Williams in the 55 the first 2 races of the season, but it's been all Sargent ever since, and might be trying to put together a deal to stay in that car full-time the rest of the way. 5 different winners in 5 ARCA Racing Series events so far in 2016, starting off with John West Townley at Daytona, then Josh Williams at Nashville, Bell at Salem, and the aforementioned Dean and Snyder wins at Talladega and Toledo. Going from the 2 2/3 mile super speedway to the half-mile short track, 2 1/4 mile road course here, and then next week off to the big 2.5 mile triangle a few hours away in Pocono. Elijah, you got something for us?
Yep, guys, just wanted to check in. The 48 car has gone behind the wall and Brad Smith is climbing out. They are done for the day here in New Jersey.
Alright, thanks for the update down below. That's going to put Smith in the 20th finishing position if no one behind him rejoins the race. Right now scored 9 laps ahead of Moose Prater. Parker Kligerman leading Christopher Bell on track as they complete 43 laps on the Thunderbolt course. 1 car setting up wide in turn 1 as the leaders barrel in. I think that's the 14 of Dustin Knowles, putting a tire off into the grass and giving leeway for Kligerman. He's got a lead of 6 car lengths over Bell, really no threat. We'll see if he can chase him down now with no one else on track between them. Something to watch is going to be how quickly Sargent can make his way up through the field. Fresher tires than a few others, but there's going to be a long way to go if he wants to catch all the way up to the leader from where he's at. Sargent currently running in the 8th position, closing in on Kyle Weatherman for 7th as they pass by the tower. Sargent peeking out to the inside, but it's not going to happen this time around, not in turn 1, just getting up to his bumper. 23 laps left in the race, so if we stay green with the pace that the 22's been showing today, I'm not sure the 55 will have what it takes to reach him. Up and over the hill, let's send it down to Aaron.
Yeah, Sam, the hills have been a challenge for the drivers this weekend. Talking down in the garage area, it's a blind hill up and over it, and now turn 4 is not directly on the opposite side, but it can still take some stability out of the car going up and over it. I've heard some teams that have marked that as something to watch for in the vehicle setups to make sure they can navigate that turn appropriately without having the car spin out. For those who have figured out, like the 22 car going past me right now, they'll be in the best shape.
Yeah, hill's definitely not something you have to account for in the average track. Some coming down and off of the banking on corner exit, obviously. But there's a reason that road course specific cars are built in the first place. You try putting Parker Kligerman out here in a car set up for Daytona or Kansas, and it's gonna be an interesting day for him to try wrestling a hold of it in spots on the track like that. Running lap 44, we'll step away for just a quick break and bring you some more ARCA racing action right after this. Back at the Twilight 150 presented by Unique Pretzels, leaders just coming by to complete lap 45 on to 46, nothing changing up front. Parker Kligerman with a 3.5 second lead over Christopher Bell now. Kligerman's barely put a wheel in the wrong spot today, almost perfect hitting his marks and going through the gears. Dalton Sargent has been on the attack, now up to the 6th position. David Levine had caught up to the back of Chase Briscoe, but came into turn 1 hot the last time by and lost some of that momentum locking the tires up. But up front, Christopher Bell not doing anything to narrow the gap on the leader. Now a 4-second lead for the Black Cunningham number 22. One car slowing up in turn 3 for the leader. That's the 75 of Bob Schacht surrendering the lead lap for the first time today. A good run for Bob in his yearly return to the series, driving one of only 2 composite body cars in the field today. Kligerman clears him rolling up the back stretch, up and over the gentle hump.
I was taking a look at the cars grading up for the race, just at the difference between the two styles of cars on the racetrack this weekend. We have the big box.
Trouble in turn 1. One car slams into the tire barriers off course. Wheels smoking, coming to a hard stop in a cloud of dust and debris. I think the black car of Beau Lamastis. I don't know if he lost his brakes heading off into 1 or if he was sent, or if that was the mother of all lockups, but that car was sent off into the tires in a hurry. All 4 wheels stayed on the ground, but that was a heavy impact for the 42. I think it's safe to say that his day is done. Safety team rolling out. Fortunately, this is just past the end of pit road and really right across the road from the medical center. There's someone jogging over from there now ahead of the van. Full course caution obviously is out here on lap 46 for the 1-car incident involving a Dodge of Beau Lamastis going off track in turn 1 and making a hard contact with the safety barrier. Safety and cleanup teams on the way. Window net looks like it's down on the car. First real heavy accident of the day. Just saw the smoke out the corner of my eye and looked over in time to see the car plowing in. Interesting time for pit strategy here, perhaps. We'll check it out when we come back after a quick sponsor break. Back under caution in New Jersey Motorsports Park, pit stop action underway for perhaps the final time. Let's hear what the scene is.
Chase Briscoe brings his car to the attention of his crew. It's going to be 4 General tires and a splash of fuel for the 77. Up ahead, the 98 looks like it's taking the same strategy here. Crew going around to the side of the 77, taking their time, only a couple cars taking advantage and coming in for changes.
I see Briscoe, Levine, and Krzyzewski on pit road, but I think that's it for the lead lap cars. Kligerman and Bell content with what they've got up against the number of laps left in the race, and could be as few as 15 by the time we get going green again. They're off down pit road the same order they came in, 77, 98, and 52. They have played into the 77 strategy if he was saving tires for the end, because at this point there's only 11 cars being scored on the lead lap. That'll put him 9th on the restart with the possibility of really heating up the cars in front of him on that first lap with fresh rubber. Bob Schacht will get the free pass and restart this race back on the lead lap in the 12th position, having just lost that to the leader right before the caution flag flew. Schacht and Ed Pompa currently the only 2 cars 1 lap off of the leaders. Behind them, Mullins, Kimmel, Knowles, Chastain, and Clifton are still on track. Elijah's on his way into the garage for an update on the 42 team. What you got?
Sure, I caught the crew on the way back to the garage. Beau is still at the medical center, but they told me he's said to be alright. Meanwhile, the car has been towed back here, and this thing is junk. Front end, left side, dented, dinged, warped. The tires really did a number over this car, but the word is the driver's fine, and he'll be back here with the team shortly.
Well, that's good news from what looked like a hard lick and a tough and sudden end of the race for Beau Lamastis and the 42 team. He'll be done for the day, and that'll slide him into the 19th position on the finishing order. 50 laps complete, working lap 51 under caution, with the field doubling up behind the pace cars. They wind around turns 9 and 10. Parker Kligerman looking to lock this one down here, but the competition's going to be a little tougher now with the field all bunched up. Cars on 4 fresh tires just a few rows back. He'll have Christopher Bell to his left, but he's likely more worried about the car directly behind him. Tom Hesser decides to try for the dive bomb move going into 1. Here they come down the front stretch, the green flag is out, and the race is on. Good start by Kligerman. Great start by Kligerman. Already far enough to clear Bell. Hessert one back. Williams on the charge in the 6, poking through a hole up to the second row as they slow and really jam it up the turn. Hey, contact! Goes the 15 of Bell off course. Contact for multiple cars. It was the 6 that got him, and all the rest continue on as Bell spins it back forwards and plows through the grass towards the racing line. A mad scramble in the first turn. The leader got away clean, but everyone from second on back all went for one spot of real estate. Kligerman leads. Hessert in second off of turn 2. Josh Williams third, and Dalton Sargent in fourth, making the move for third. Bell back on course, but he's trailing the rest of the leaders. Matter of fact, it looks like he might be the last car in the lead lap now, still shaking some of the debris off the tires. Kligerman couldn't have asked for a better restart behind him with that chaos. He's already stretching out the lead as they head up the backstretch hill. 4 car lengths to lead over the 25.
Ready and waiting for the leaders to come over the hill, around the corner, and down towards me in turn 5. A little bit of smoke coming out of the leader, just a puff from the right front, but he's under control, way ahead of Hessert in second. He's got a good lead over Sargent in third. A little more smoke coming out of Josh Williams, and he comes barreling in, locking up both front tires as he's getting the skid into turn 5.
One car real loose much further back off of 3 that looks like Will Kimmel still trying to hold it down with the axle issues that the team diagnosed. He's been running off the pace since the caution before last, now a few laps down. Bell looks like he's about up to speed again, but I don't know if maybe that skid took a little out of those tires. Book may be written on this day if we don't get another caution. Taking a look at the scoring monitor, it's still Sargent at 4th, Weatherman in 5th, and now Steve Minganelli jumping up to 6th after the big jumble up. Looking out towards the bridge to my left, looks like one of the teams is already up and out of here. Can't tell who, might be one of the Peterson trailers. All 3 of their cars going behind the wall early on here today. Waiting for the lead car to emerge out from under that bridge, it's going to be Parker Kligerman, who's led this race for about the last 25 laps, working lap 52 of 67. Tower and pit lane all quiet here right now, with the field all off behind us, and only 18 cars remaining out on track. Those brief couple of laps when most of the cars are still somewhat bunched together, just that dull whir in the distance. But here comes that angry engine out from under the bridge, on the button coming through turn 12. Parker Kligerman leads the first lap back under green. 52 laps completed the Thunderbolt. Kligerman first, then one by one behind him it's Hessert, Sargent, Williams, Weatherman, and David Levine, all on fresh tires, all the way up to 6th. Also making the march towards the front, Chase Briscoe's worked his way to the 7th spot, making some hay out there on that really clustered restart. The other car in the Cunningham camp definitely hoping that we've seen the last of those. Parker's faced a few challenges as the leader on these restarts, but he's been perfect lately, the gap between he and Hessert still widening as he enters off into 1.
Guys, I'm down here in the 15's pit. They've been on the radio with Christopher, and although he said he's not sure if the car has developed a problem, for now they're going to leave him out on the track and hope it works itself out.
Yeah, we saw him go for a ride last time around off the nose of the 6 car. He's still being scored the last car running on the lead lap, a few lengths behind the 75 of Schacht. One car going wide at the end of the straightaway. That looks like the 5 of Benny Chastain going for a ride with his left side tires off into the dirt. 5 car has really been a sampling trade this year for the owners. Started out with Bobby Gerhardt running Daytona, of course, then Talladega, and at the short tracks in between, it's been Brian Keselowski behind the wheel running his own car. This week, it's entered as the second car for Bob Schacht, with Chastain as the driver, in his first event since Talladega back in 2014. Top 3 starting to pull away from the rest of the field. Williams going the wrong way on the track, 6 or 7 car lengths between he and Sargent now. Finally, all equalized. Don't count out Dalton Sargent to at least get up and grab second away from Hessert in these closing laps. Kligerman leads down the backstretch on lap 53, late in the race here at New Jersey Motorsports Park. Field's starting to thin itself out here, so the odds of getting another caution may be a little slimmer now. Proverbial cautions breed cautions late though, so if something were to happen with only a few to go, there's no telling what direction this race could head in. Kligerman just needs the car underneath him to hold up. He's held off all comers outside of the pit cycles today, really proving himself the class of the field. Hasn't found success on the road courses in NASCAR, at least not to victory lane. Best finished a third in 2013 when he was driving the full nationwide schedule for Kyle Busch Motorsports in the 77 car. In his last start at New Jersey Motorsports Park, he was a runner-up. Tommy Hestert's proven himself very capable on the road courses in the ARCA series. This is his 9th start at his home track here in New Jersey, 7 top 10 finishes, and a runner-up in 2013 and 15. Also a 3rd place at Road America and a 4th at Palm Beach in their lone trips to those tracks. But he said that winning here today is something that's definitely on his list after so many efforts coming close.
Just wanted to chime in here real quick as a couple of cars run through turn 5. I've seen a bunch of damage on Sheldon Creed's car, really dented up all over it. Didn't see any collision over on this end though.
Yeah, maybe something we missed there. Creed having a rough day. rebounded to stay in the race and on the lead lap after an oil leak slowed the race early on, but hasn't made any new headway towards the front, and now it sounds like he's had some contact on track somewhere. Some of these older steel-bodied cars could be on their last legs here, like we said, potentially only brought out from under the sheet once a year for these teams, and on a course where aerodynamics may not make or break a race, maybe some smaller dents from races past weren't ironed out. Stark contrast between some of the bodies held together by safety pins and tape versus the new composite cars like the ones being driven by Dalton Sargent in third place. And they're going to be the wave of the future, ARCA announcing that the older bodies are slowly going to be phased out in favor of the new 5-star covering featured here and in the K&N East and West series.
Oh, we got a car around behind me. Car spinning off in the grass, coming to a stop. Trying to get a view. Can't see who it is through the barriers and the other cars.
I've got him through the binoculars here. It's Willie Mullins in the 34 car around off by turns 8 and 9. 22 team probably praying that he can get it out of the grass, and he's rolling again, so we're going to avoid a caution flag. Mullins being scored in the 14th position on track as of that last lap. Quick ride through the grass, and he's got that 34 back on solid ground now. Lap 54 underway, and the 22 still continues to stretch his lead out over the 25. Put it up to 3 seconds the last time by. Slightly shorter distance back to Tom Hessert, a little less to Dalton Sargent, then a pretty sizable gap back to Williams in 4th. Just wanted to add, looking down to my right, I think I saw the driver of the 42 headed back to the garage in a golf cart, so Bo Lemastis treated and released from the on-track medical center. Taking a scan around the top of our scoring tower and radio lookout here, starting to see some fans that have been scattered around the track heading our way for the end of the race. Very, very accessible area for the fans. General admission getting you full run of the grounds of the facility. The haulers are right there, the garages are relatively open, and Victory Lane is right underneath of the tower, so you can come in and grab a look at the winner pulling in from the other side of the road. It's been a beautiful day for racing in southern New Jersey, and it's not going to be the last year for stock cars this year. NASCAR is coming in for the first time at the end of September with the K&N East Series, so double the fun in 2016. Halfway through lap 54 of 67, we're going to step away for one last break and come back to get you to the finish here. You're listening to coverage of the ARCA Racing Series presented by Menards, live from New Jersey Motorsports Park. Back here at the Twilight 150, a little bit of a misnomer here today. Sun's getting low in the sky, but we'll finish with plenty of daylight to spare here. Parker Kligerman in the number 22 Dodge for Cunningham Motorsports setting the pace today, running with a 4.5 second lead over Tommy Hessert as they work lap 58 of 67. The gap from first to second inching further a tenth at a time, but the gap from second to third starting to close up as Dalton Sargent's making it happen in the 55 car, closing in on his Venturini Motorsports teammate. Pressure building on a track like this where it comes down to hitting your marks lap after lap and not entering 2 corners per lap. This is a 12-turn affair with a few heavy braking points and slow portions. We've seen cars run wide off track all by themselves just by maybe the smallest lapse in judgment or attention, trying to hustle these heavy stock cars around what amounts to a pretty narrow and windy track surface near the Thunderbolt circuit. Parker Kligerman circling around the long right-handers of turns 7 through 9, really a tricky area at any time in the race. 7 a 90-degree turn, not too sharp, then 8, a very long loop to the right, and then turn 9 jamming up what you hoped would be a smooth exit off of 8 with a real quick and tight turn of 100 degrees to the right again. Left side grass really creeping up on the racing line, and these drivers have to back it down to speeds you'd see in the parking lots here to wheel it through 9. Around the big 180-degree left-hander of turn 10, before emerging out into the gentle S's of turn 11. Parker keeps it on track here with his reliable pace, again hitting those marks, a few turns ahead of Hessert. On the gas now through the slight chicane, coasting just a bit under the bridge into the loose turn 12, heading back into the open front straight where he mashes the gas and grabs a gear, soaring all by himself past the pits and past the tower to complete lap 58. Oh, one car going wide in turn 1. That's Benny Chastain locking the tires up and taking a ride out towards the grass. Shouldn't affect the leader as he's just now dialing it down for the corner. Chastain a few laps off the pace, currently the last car running. Check that, still a few laps ahead of Rick Clifton in the 27 car. Parker taking it very easy through 1, maybe saving the car a little, and no, he's got a large enough lead that he doesn't need to press the attack. He's also working on some pretty old tires. He came in for his service back on lap 23 or so and stayed out each of the last 2 cautions. Clean pass of the 5 car now heading into turn 3. Taking a look at the current running order by car number, it's 22 out front, then the 25, 55, 6, 58, 98, 77, and 52 the top 8. Followed by the 24, the 38, 75, and 15 car in 12th. Bell, the last car running on the lead lap, but he's navigated his way right up to the back bumper of the 75 down the front stretch here. Issues for a couple of these cars late in the running. Bell sent off track from near the front on the last restart, and Creed in the 38 really taken a beating from someone or something recently. Car not quite running at full song now. Not a race of attrition for the drivers and teams we'd imagined we'd see up front. All the cars currently out of the running. Only Beau Lamastis spent time up near the leaders, a crash in turn 1 eliminating him and causing that last caution. A solid run this afternoon for Matt Krzyzewski in the 52 car, out now in the 8th spot, really running by himself with a buffer off of either bumper. Led a handful of laps in a pit cycle earlier in the race, first crack at a road course in the ARCA series. He's done some races for his family team the past couple of seasons, mostly the larger tracks, but this year doing the full schedule for Ken Schrader's number 52 team. Same with Chase Briscoe, first run at a road course in his first full season. He's on the cycle of fresher tires, running 7th here on lap 59, and he's really pulling up tight on the bumper of the 98 in front of him off in turn 7 is it? Somewhere off in the loop. I can't tell if maybe the 98 slid up a bit and lost some ground. Crawling around through 8 and 9, Levine retains position on him, but Briscoe is there and ready for another mistake to pounce. Getting down to crunch time here when give and take turns more to take. No one's going to be taking anything from Kligerman anytime soon by the looks of it, as he drives under the bridge and out onto the straightaway again. Trouble up ahead, big dust cloud from the end of the line as one car is well off course. I think that's the purple 34 in the grass, a few widths off of turn 1, still wrestling the car all the way up to turn 2 at half speed. Mullins running in 15th now as he climbs back onto the track to his right, up ahead of our leader who bears down on him quickly. A 5.5 second lead over Hessert now as the 22 blows past the slower car of Mullins, still trying to get its bearings back. Little dirt and grass on the asphalt in its wake. Lap 60 now as Kligerman puts 2 wheels up on the curbs around 3. Thought maybe he was going to be taking it easy with his lead, but he's still hustling the car around the racetrack. 7 laps left here in the Twilight 150, presented by Unique Pretzels. 6th race of the year on the ARCA racing schedule. May 28th, 2016, Millville, New Jersey. Not much else left to say as the action unfolds. Barring a yellow flag, this one might be just about wrapped up, but you never know. Flurry of mechanical issues early on in this race. Creed with an oil leak, Sargent with the transmission bug, Prater and Kimmel both with problems that took them off the pace. Been quiet here lately from that perspective, no one reporting any problems in, and below me it looks like the pit crews are starting to go through the motions of packing it in. Some of the smaller pit boxes getting their covers back on, tires and gas canisters migrating back towards the grass and fence separating pit road from the garage. Some spare parts being ferried out towards the haulers, most of them right next to the L-shaped garage area. One road in and out of the infield here, the 2-lane bridge over turn 12 that the teams and fans will all be streaming over once the checkers fly here.
Pass for position here in turn 5. Briscoe just rode Levine through the corner and made a move around him. They're both clear.
Alright, so put Chase Briscoe up to the 6th position as he sets his sights on the blue 58 car up ahead. Rest of the top 10 still very much in play behind our leader. Scoring monitor shows that Christopher Bell has passed Bob Schacht for the 11th place on track. Must have missed that one for you when I got too flowery there. Tires activating as those who have been staying out really drifting backwards. Briscoe moving closer to Weatherman through the turns. I know the 22 is driving the same 22 that ran and won here last year with him. Not sure if Briscoe is driving the previous 77. Was runner-up here last year with our current runner-up Tom Hessert behind the wheel. Lots of familiar names. Last year's full top 10 I've got right here. Kyle Weatherman was the winner, Hessert 2nd, Josh Williams 3rd, then Grant Enfinger 4th, Cole Custer 5th, Cody Coughlin 6th, Austin Wayne Self 7th, Steve Minganelli 8th, Sarah Cornett Ching 9th, and Brandon Jones 10th, so some familiar names and teams up near the front. Lap 61 underway now, and I'll say the story is Dalton Sargent closing in on Tom Hessert for 2nd. Up close now on the front stretch, maybe working a draft off the 25, ready to make a move through the braking zone. Here comes Sargent, looking to the inside, no! Maybe a little wheel hop, and Sargent drifts up to Hessert's left rear through the turn. Hessert fends him off. So maybe the 25 car starting to fade some, losing ground to the leader, now under fire from the 55. Sargent maybe finally about to reclaim 2nd place. He wobbles coming out of the turn, but gains it back, now a car length behind the 25. The battle for 2nd is all theirs, Williams a significant distance back behind them. Dodging around the slow car of Benny Chastain, taking a wide arc around turn 1. Looking off as the sun sets over the treetops in that direction. Up the backstretch, 25 and 55, zooming over the hump. Let's send it to Aaron and see if we get another pass attempt on his call.
Waiting here in turn 5 as they come into view and Kligerman drives past. Tommy Hessert still ahead, taking the low line into the corner. No dive bomb to take there. Sargent stays in line, half a car length back to his rear bumper as they drive through 5.
Sargent all over the back of Hessert, but they're entering into the stretch of the course where your only hope of passing someone is to move them out of the way. But he can keep up the pressure here and maybe force the 25 into a mistake. Coming in behind them on the opposite side of the Armco, the fight is tightening up. Chase Briscoe now catching up to Weatherman and Williams in 4th and 5th. Couple of battles now in formation. Briscoe with newer General tires than everyone in front of him. He has caught them. That black and yellow big-time Dodge cutting the corners just a little smoother at this point in the run. 5-second lead right now for Kligerman as he exits under the access bridge. Emerging out through turn 12. Will Kimmel's wounded 69 car a few lengths ahead of him is going to shrink the outside of the track and give Parker room to zoom past. Will a few laps off pace now with that axle run. Lap 62 underway, 6 to go. Here comes the knot for second place. Sargent right up behind him now, pushing down the front stretch and past us here at the tower. Will he make a move down the hill? Yes, he will, drifting over to the outside of Hessert as they get on the brakes. 25 goes by and the 55 tries to diamond in underneath of him midway through. Yes, Sargent to the inside of Hessert in 1. Out they go side by side. Sargent in the preferred position as they shoot up towards the hill towards 2. Easing to the middle to the bully of the 25, who lifts for him, and move Dalton Sargent up to the second position. Sargent clears him heading down the short stretch towards 3. Hessert lined up behind him. Hessert bumps the gas a little through the corner, really right on his bumper around the gentle curve. Battle may not be over yet. Lined up nose to tail past the hangar, up the hill. Kligerman already out of view on the opposite side, lead steady at 5 seconds.
Kligerman all by himself up here. I just don't know if they need to be a little extra careful down there. There's a bunch of dirt off the turn exit here from all the cars that have been going off course.
Yeah, I can say the same for sure about turns 1 and 2. Just from recent laps, some of these cars may be running out of brakes.
Oh, pass here. Hessert back into the inside of Sargent. He's got him back. 55 ran it in way too deep.
Swapping second place back and forth, Sargent had it just briefly. Now Hessert drives around him in turn 5 to snatch it back away. First position change up on the podium since this race really got back going under green. I can see Sargent still hounding him off the slow technical portion. Have to see if he's saving up for another run or if he gives him the bumper around by turn 9 when it tightens up. So while they sort out second position, the battle for 4th is still being crunched closer together. Josh Williams had been holding it down, but now Weatherman and Briscoe are continuing to close in right on the opposite side of the guardrail from the other fight as they wind through the turn, and they do. And as they do, Tommy Hessert's pulling away from Sargent, full car length and a little extra ahead of him. Oh, one car going wide again. It's Benny Chastain off in turn 1. Problems getting the car woed down. His brakes might be about done, what we've seen out of that car lately. Kligerman might catch him again before we're done here. As a matter of fact, here he comes onto the front stretch now, ready to start lap number 63. 5 seconds the gap over Tom Hessert, out from under the bridge now with the 55 car in tow. Both of them very hungry for a chance to get up front again. I think if we see the caution fly here, it may not be the last, depending on whether or not this race title lives up to its name. If one of these cars that are losing brakes parks it on the track, we're going to have a wicked restart. Kligerman's still got 4 solid tires underneath of him from what we've seen. Haven't seen him skip through any corners as he drives off into 1 now, keeping it on track, away from some of the landscaping that's made its way on board.
There's some back and forth chatter on the radios about some of the damage a few of these cars have been doing over the edges of the track. Spotters telling them, their drivers, to look out if they run up on slower traffic in the corners.
Well, it's a definite concern, but right now they're also worried about their drivers wrecking all on their own for these position battles, never mind the lappers. The snarl for 4th place is intensifying. Weatherman really up on the back of Williams down the front straightaway. Looking to the inside with a run towards the thick wall. A fender inside, and the 58's going to have the edge if he can get on the brakes in time. They're driving into turn 1. Weatherman jamming it down to the inside curbs. Maybe a little contact, and there's Briscoe right behind them. Weatherman clears for 4th off of 1, but I don't think they're done. All 3 in a line, a little too close together. Oh, a nudge to the back of the 58 through 2, but he keeps it together. Will they make it through 2? Yes. How about turn 3? Williams looking for an edge. Maybe a nose to the left and right, hard to tell from here. But now they're settling down in line, regrouping and gathering speed back up. Ahead up the straightaway, Hessert is pulling away from Sargent. Several car lengths, and I think it's increasing. Looking at Aaron's way, there's Kligerman hitting a little bit of lap traffic. I think that's the glossy purple 34 car of Mullins again, who gives way out of the 5th turn with a slide. That gap back to 2nd place has stabilized. I don't know who's to credit or who's to blame, but it's stuck at right about 5 seconds. We'll check the next time by. Lap 63, just 5 laps remaining in the race, and what looked like maybe it was going to settle out into a calm and relaxed final 10 laps is heating up behind the leader. Sargent gave Hessert a run. That's leveled off now, but what about this fight for 4th?
3 cars under a blanket blaring towards me here. Briscoe pulls to the inside. Will he dive bomb? No. Shift backs into line and follows the parade around the corner. Sam, these guys are all lined up bumper to bumper. Forget the lap cars, the caution might come out of this grouping.
Tension's high here after all the time elapsed in the race, and with only 18 cars running on the track, 3 of them under that blanket around turn 6. Scoring is updated for leaders, and just what I thought it looked like, the gap back to second place is down to 4.5 seconds, so maybe don't close the book on the trophy quite yet. That would certainly be a surprise. Maybe if the tires are starting to fall off on the 22, or if he's finally taking it easy on them. Looking down below the stand here, the 22 teams perched out on the wall, basically waiting for the driver to take it by again. Limited view of the track, no television monitor to watch the rest of the track on, just hoping their drivers come back by again, and that's how it is as a fan oftentimes in these races. Occasionally the driver you're following simply just doesn't come back by the next time around, and you're left wondering what happened to them. Waiting for the roar of the 22 to come out again, and there he is out through the bridge and around turn 12. This time by just 4 laps to go in New Jersey, and the race is on. A 4-second lead now for Kligerman, the gap shrinking. Hessert spreading it out with a 1 3/4 second lead over Sargent. Tommy may be within sight of Parker, but it's going to take a real mistake or a mechanical failure for him to catch and pass him at the current pace. And here comes that gaggle of cars further back, still 58, 6, and 77. What are they going to do down the front stretch? Weatherman's going to have to defend from some tricky driving. Williams and Briscoe, knowing that it's go time, each bobbing left and right past the line here at the tower. In trouble up ahead, one car blowing the turn, that's the 34, again running wide and slow to the outside of the track, crawling in the grass, and here they come behind him. Chase Briscoe to the outside, cutting through the grass to nose ahead. 3 wide, and here they come to Mullins. 4 wide into turn 2. Williams into the inside grass, and all 4 cars keep going. Williams still ahead. Oh, terrible timing for a 3-wide battle. The 34 car was limping along on the edge of the track when the 3 lead lap cars came barreling through. On a track not wide enough for 3-wide battles on the turn, they were briefly 4 across. Josh Williams digging down in the grass and staying in it. He's got the position for now. Now Weatherman with some asphalt momentum to the outside of Williams coming into 3. He's up alongside him, and through the turn they're side by side. Down to the hangar and up the hill, Weatherman shooting ahead, looking to clear Williams by turn 4. A near disaster there for everyone involved, but all coming through turn 2 unscathed. I didn't even see any contact there at the 4 wide point. Everyone kept their cool and just made the track as wide as possible, both ends of it down into the grass. I don't know how much you would have seen of it, but if you're the spotter for the 22, do you even mention how close we just came to a full course caution for a couple of wrecked up cars?
Not what the leader wants to hear is going on behind him with a few laps remaining. Parker taking it through turn 5 at the same pace he's been running, but Tommy Hessert really starting to press it. A healthy lead over third place right now.
From up here, I wouldn't count out a change for position yet. As we've seen, you're always just one wrong move and one tire off away from a mistake that can cost you a few seconds on the track. I don't know if Tom's satisfied with running second here again. He spoke before the race about how much a win here at his home track would mean to him, especially after all the close calls he's had over the years. Qualified 4th, but had to drop to the rear of the field prior to the race for unapproved adjustments. Now he's driven up to 2nd, and that gap to the leader might be starting to shrink now that he's not trying to fend off the 55. The migration down below on the pit lane continues, some of the smaller teams wheeling tires away through the gate. Pit boxes closing up, but a few teams further down the road still hotly engaged in what's going on the racetrack, waiting for their cars to complete the lap, and like I said before, hoping that their guy comes back around past them again. Parker Kligerman's going to do it. He's crossing under the bridge once again, coming off of turn 12. This time by, there will be 3 laps of racing to go. Car still sounds healthy. I don't see any damage or signs of wear on the right side of the 22 as he crosses the line and heads down towards 1. Hessert following a few steps behind. No one between, but some traffic up ahead for the 22 as he rolls off the throttle. Look out! Trouble ahead of him! Benny Chastain overcooks it and spins out right on the edge of the track. Kligerman slides to the inside and avoids the spinning car. Oh my! The 5 car coming to a stop now up on the curbs, waiting as Tom Hessert and Dalton Sargent drive by beneath them. A near catastrophe for the race leader Parker Kligerman as he catches up to Chastain right as he lost control coming out of turn 1, up the short stop to 2. Car still sitting motionless on the track. Oh, if he can't get it refired, this is going to be disastrous. More cars going by up through 6th place, and now he lets it roll forward. Alright. He's just waiting for traffic to settle and give him a chance to roll off again. Levine and Krzyzewski drive by as the 5 car rumbles ahead through the grass, circling back towards the racing surface. Turn 1, an absolute minefield late in the race for the leaders. The 5 car going off, 34 car going off, every time around some adversity for the leaders to deal with. And now with just 3 laps to go in the race, the leader nearly wiped out by a car almost 10 laps off the pace. Well, we all saw it happen. Saw the cloud of dust, some heads in the grandstands in the corner of the track perk up, a car sliding off and looping it around in front of the driver with the car to beat today, but fortunately for him, He survives and likely won't have to deal with any more surprises the rest of the way on, especially if that was the final strike for the 5 team. And I'll tell you what, I don't know if the 22 had to really get off the gas there or what, but Tom Hessert is reeling him in. The lead now down to just 3 seconds on the track. Behind him, that angry snarl for 4th continues to churn. Weatherman back in front, but perhaps not for long as Williams starts to harass him down towards turn 5. All in line now as they motor through the corner, but I'd be shocked if the finishing order here remains the same. Williams gets a tire of the red car off into the grass, and here comes Briscoe to his outside, heading to the furthest corner of the track. I can't tell who's going to have an advantage here between the distance and the obstacles in the way of the tower. Gonna wait and see how they sort it out around the long right-hander. Briscoe challenging for the 5th position, and I think you can give it to him.
Guys, just wanted to give a quick update from the radios. Dalton Sargent says he thinks he used his tires and brakes up trying to get past the 25, and he's going to hang on to it from here. Also, no chatter whatsoever from the 22 about taking it easy, the spotter in fact telling him to keep it up. That the 25 car is running the fastest times on the track right now.
Wow, so maybe don't stick a fork in this one yet. The 25 car is on the warpath. I can't see either car looking noticeably faster or slower on the track, but they have it all to themselves ahead of them now. The next car in front of Kligerman already rounding the first few turns. We'll see what the interval looks like this time. Kligerman drives under the bridge and off turn 12, over the bumps and out to the outside of the front straightaway. 2 laps of racing to go when he crosses the line. Here comes Hessert behind him. Lead down to less than 3 seconds now. Collective exhale from them. There's no one waiting at the end of pit road or down in turn 1 this time. 2 laps of one-on-one racing. Down the end of the front straightaway, he can see Hessert in his mirrors now, but does the 25 have enough time? Can he break the stranglehold that Dodge has had on this event? Each of the last 7 winners running the Mopar flag. Toyota yet to have a win on any road course in the ARCA Racing Series. If he can pull it off today, it would be an absolute steal. Kligerman the dominant car today, leading over 50 laps. Tom Hessert yet to see the first position. Gap maybe closing a little more towards turn 2 and through. Oh, and further back, Josh Williams has passed Kyle Weatherman to move into 4th. Lots of scrambling left to do here in the final pair of laps. Up front, the 22 still at the point. All 4 wheels on the track through turn 3, and that's all he can do. Driving up the backstretch, the gap between 1st and 2nd the closest it's been in a long time, and Timing Loop says that it's now a 2.5 second lead. Up and over the hill, let's send it to Aaron for a turn report.
That black 22 skirting out of turn 4 heading my way. Still no one else ahead for him to worry about. It's been quiet on this end. Spotters on the top of the bleachers here telling the drivers just to hit their marks. That's what they're doing entering into 5. Kligerman holds his lead over Hessert.
Got a report from Elijah saying that Dalton Sargent felt he'd used up his equipment in that run. At this point, he's not pressuring the 25 car at all, settling into 3rd place with a good buffer in front behind him. So it's likely that he's going to bring home the final spot on the podium here today. Tom Hessert running down the leader, but I'm not sure if he's going to have enough time. I don't know if he waited too long to hit the go button or if one car is just holding up better than the other at this point in the running. We haven't noticed Kligerman locking up his wheels and overdriving it through any of the turns, but all cars and setups aren't made identical. Maybe it's just taking the 25 car this long to hit its stride. Hessert really drives it into turn 7. I don't know if it was too hard, but it looks like it's sticking. And for a moment in the slowest portion of the track, it looks like he's only a few car lengths back of the leader. Kligerman nimbly navigating the long right-hand turn of 8 and 9, the tight bend at the end, likely shifting all the way down to what feels like a crawl before the width of turn 10 welcomes the car back into safety. Hessert not close enough to make a move, but he is in his tracks, make no doubt about it. Oh, some dust behind him. There's been another pass. Chase Briscoe is charged through, and it looks like he's the first car in that grouping. Briscoe, then Williams, Weatherman, and then Levine. Taking a look down below, the crew of the 22 is up and leaning against the pit wall, urging their car into the picture, and out from under the bridge he emerges. Kligerman, then Tommy Hessert 1-2. Up to the starting line, white flag displayed from the officials. 1 lap of racing to go in the Twilight 150. The lead down to just 2 seconds. Hessert and the Venturini bunch hoping for some kind of mistake from the leader, and if it comes, it may happen in just a moment as they let off and brake for turn 1. Down the front stretch to the end of the pits and into turn 1 for the final time. Kligerman takes the easy arc in, safety over speed. Hessert maybe the tweener route, didn't force his car in deeper than it can handle. No one parked on the track in front of them now. Rick Clifton, last car running the order, but he's already up past the hangar. Hessert gaining again now as they shoot up the short hill to turn 2. But I think the only chance he's going to have is to get an enormous run off of 3. Off of turn 2, cars framed up against the trees, sun setting behind them. Kligerman feeling the heat. Hessert dialing up some pressure into 3. The lead less than 2 seconds. A skip over the curbs, a wobble at high speed. He gathers it up and tries to stay in the tow of the 22 car down the back straightaway. Past the hangar, up the hill, over the lip, and out of view of the main track. Let's send it to Aaron one more time.
Kligerman leads through turn 4, the advantage down to a few car lengths off the gas early. He rolls into turn 5. Hessert sends it in. Oh, a little too deep. Hessert out on the edge of the track, wrestling with the wheel. He keeps it on course, but I think that may have been the end for his comeback attempt here on this last lap.
The lead widening back out now. Hessert must have thought that it was worth a shot to see if he could get the car to stick down there. A Hail Mary shot to make up enough time on the leader, but it looks like he's going to come up short today. Kligerman off and around towards turn 6 now, putting the car on cruise control. This would be the second straight win in this race for the 22 car of Cunningham Motorsports from what we've been told is, in fact, the same car that won in 2015. Also the second straight win in the ARCA Series for the 22 after Myatt Snyder's success for Cunningham last week at the Toledo Short Track. Parker Kligerman's last trip to victory lane was at Talladega in 2012 in a Truck Series race, where he scored the victory for Red Horse Racing after making the switch from Brad Keselowski's team midway through the year. His last win in the ARCA Series, 2009, his full season attempt where he won the final 2 races of the season at Kansas and at Rockingham. It looks like he's going to be heading back to the top spot again today, navigating the final few turns, disappearing out of view behind the bridge. Crew down below already clapping, nodding. They know what's about to come. Underneath the bridge one last time, through turn 12 and into the clear. Parker Kligerman is all by himself. He accelerates to the finish line and is a winner at New Jersey. Tom Hessert comes across the line at second place, backing off after mounting a comeback charge late. Dalton Sargent third. Some dirt flying behind them, more action from the group that didn't seem to want to settle down. Chase Briscoe emerging out first of the bunch, and then David Levine, as Kyle Weatherman has dropped a few positions. Rest of the field slowly making their way around the rest of the circuit to complete lap 67. Parker Kligerman the winner today. We'll take a break, let the results sort themselves out, and come back in just a minute to bring you the final finishing order from Millville, New Jersey.
Down here, waiting in victory lane, here comes the 22 car. Your winner today, Parker Kligerman.
Parker Kligerman, the winner at New Jersey Motorsports Park. How about that? What a ride from the Westport, Connecticut driver. Good job, Parker. I know you wanted this one really bad. How's it feel to finally get here?
We really stretched those General tires, and they really lasted. I mean, we put, I don't know, 40 laps.
Post-race celebration and activities going down below us in victory lane. Parker Kligerman, the winner of the Twilight 150, presented by Unique Pretzels, here in the ARCA Racing Series, presented by Menards. A nice crowd gathered around down there, where eventually they'll take part in the more road course-oriented tradition of the podium presentation in Champaign, a nice touch at the track. Twilight definitely settling in now, no lights here at the Thunderbolt course. Flurry of activity further past the winner's circle, with cars lingering around for inspection and haulers backing up. Let's take a look at the final unofficial running order for today's race. Kligerman the winner, second place for Tom Hessert. Dalton Sargent rounds out the upcoming podium. Fourth is Chase Briscoe, fifth David Levine, sixth place for Josh Williams, seventh for Kyle Weatherman, and eighth for Matt Krzyzewski. Ninth, Steve Minganelli, and Christopher Bell sneaks back into the top 10. 11th is Sheldon Creed, 12th Bob Schacht, the final car running on the lead lap. Also finishing the race under power, Ed Pampa, Dustin Knowles, Willie Mullins, Will Kimmel, Benny Chastain, and Rick Clifton. Bo Lamastis, the first car out of the race in 19th, followed by Brad Smith, Thomas Prater, Mike Seneca, and Steve Fox. Early exits at the back were Con Nicolopoulos, Dale Matchett, Chase Storch, and Wayne Peterson. Lap leaders today, Kligerman started on the pole and led a total of 56, Christopher Bell led 7, Matt Krzyzewski 3, and Josh Williams 1 lap. The caution flag flew 4 times for a total of 24 laps of 67. A special thank you to Aaron and Elisha for helping out today as I pull back the curtain a little bit. This was just a little labor of love I wanted to spend some time creating during this homebound time in 2020. We're all there that day, and I just wanted to capture a little bit of that and bring a storyline to a race that most fans haven't ever seen as much as a photograph of. The goal was to keep it as accurate as possible using as much documentation as I could find from photos and videos I took, that some of my friends took, press releases, old tweets, story wraps, whatever I could find to assemble a full race. So if you're listening now on YouTube, switch back over to the window and you can see some of the video highlights that I took during the race. Maybe it matches up some with how you imagined it.
Good luck, Dr.
I got every color you can make.
Congratulations, our podium finishers today, Parker Klagerman, Tom Esser, and Sullivan Sargent.
That's praise too good to be cider.